Welcome to United Arab Emirates by Leeland Hackbarth, Shian Nicholson, Julie Reed, Saad Mohamad, Iftekhar Saimon, Abdulfalah Sheriff, Meekha Varghese, and Bretton Villarreal.
The United Arab Emirates, often referred to as the UAE, is one of the Middle East's most vital economic hubs. The UAE is a federation of 7 states, or emirates, that are united and yet maintain a large part of their independence since the UAE's inception in 1971, with the final member joining in 1972. The UAE is ruled by a Supreme Council of Rulers with an emir from each state who collectively appoint the Prime Minister and his cabinet. The UAE's capital is Abu Dhabi, and the emir from there is also the president of the UAE, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Oil was discovered in the region in the 1950s, and after starting to export in the early 60s, the UAE's society and economy have greatly improved, boasting of many multinational enterprises and its status as a trade and transport center. In recent years, the UAE, driven by Dubai and Abu Dhabi, has been moving away from the energy-based economy and has been deriving most of its revenue from non-oil sources. The UAE is Australia's largest trading partner in the Middle East. The UAE is a member of the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, and has the highest GDP of the group, which also consists of Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, and Yemen.
The national culture of United Arab Emirates.
The national culture of the United Arab Emirates is that they are developmentally advanced and very wealthy. Anyone visiting the country for the first time or living there will see this firsthand. They also have a very warm, inviting, and friendly atmosphere. The dress code, although is not especially strict, they do have laws prohibiting people from dressing immodestly. They ask that you are very respectful and keep anything from your shoulders to your knees covered. It's also important to note of their surface culture that alcohol is frowned upon and is only available in hotels, nightclubs, and some restaurants. It's also disrespectful to drink in front of a person who is celebrating Ramadan. Another custom to be aware of is that it is not appropriate to offer a handshake to a person of the opposite sex when meeting them for the first time. Some of the hidden culture for United Arab Emirates is that their values stem from their deeply rooted religious culture, and that they hold modesty, respect, courtesy, and hospitality as their highest virtues. Because their core foundations stem from their Islamic religion, you can see that throughout their culture, from everything that they eat and drink and how they treat people. They are a very helpful nation and rooted to their traditions. They have a very, although they are very diverse, they also only associate with their own cultures. They marry within their own cultures and don't deviate too much from that. They have a strong healthcare plan, which the government is funded from the birth of a person to the death of the person. Even residents who are from another country have access to this healthcare. It's also very strict guidelines for people who have diseases, and usually if you have one of these diseases listed, you would not be allowed in the country. They also have one of the best educations offered in the country, and 70% of all graduates from universities are women, which is one of the highest in the world.
Some interesting parts of the United Arab Emirates include the tallest building of the world called Burj Al Khalifa, and other tourism destinations such as the Atlantis, Dubai Mall, Marina Mall, and other places that are so attractive and receive many tourists from different parts of the world. United Arab Emirates has won the right to host the World Expo in Dubai in 2020. This will be the first time that the World Expo is staged in the Middle East, North Africa, or South Asia.
The business climate of the United Arab Emirates.
This part of the presentation will overview what makes the UAE favorable to conduct business in. A few things that will be covered will be the geographical location, i.e. located on the map, the diversification and liberalization program, free zones, and the individuality of each emirate.
United Arab Emirates is one of the world's fastest growing economies that embrace investors of all kinds to conduct a business in its country. UAE maintains a position as a trade investment hub for a large geographic region that includes not only the Middle East and North Africa, but Central Asia, South Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. UAE's free trade zones attract foreign direct investment, which allows foreigners to have 100% ownership of the equity in one enterprise. In an enterprise, have 100% import and export tax exemption, have 100% exemption from commercial levies, and repatriate 100% of capital and profits. The chief attraction of the free zones is the waiver of the UAE's government's requirement for majority local ownership.
The United Arab Emirates is located in the Middle East and borders the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. You will see this located in the image to the left, highlighted in the red. The UAE is comprised of 7 total emirates, most notably Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The geographical location gives very prominent access to black gold, i.e. petroleum, natural gas. The geographical location also gives access to easy trading or quicker trading, since it's near the heart of the trade routes of East Asia, West Asia, and Europe. As previously mentioned, the UAE has had heavy reliance on the petroleum and natural gas industry for years and years. Therefore, the UAE government has implemented a diversification and liberalization plan to reduce the reliance on the petroleum and natural gas industry. This has created investment by the government into other sectors such as tourism, aviation, information technology, telecommunications, renewable energy, along with many other sectors that they would like to have reliance on to diversify. That does not include the real estate market either. The real estate market has boomed and continues to increase due to leverage positions of investors being low and the flexible regulatory requirement and environment for investors from the government. Free zones in the United Arab Emirates are areas that have a special tax, imports, or custom regime and are governed by their own framework of regulations, with the exception of criminality of it. But it has several free zones across all 7 emirates. There are 40 total, while the majority of them are going to be located in the Abu Dhabi, Dubai vicinity. These are very attractive to foreign businessmen. The government will incentivize to attract investors with aspects such as zero corporation taxation, the lack of an audit requirement, or no restrictions on currency. Well, those are just a few. These do attract businessmen, and they eliminate the local sponsor share as well of 51%, and the foreign investors will keep 100% of shares of the companies, entities, corporations. Another benefit for business in the Emirates is the individuality of each emirate. While there are 7 total states, each emirate operates independently. Each emirate will offer benefits to businesses that will differ from emirate to emirate. This can be attractive, for example, for aviation companies to Abu Dhabi, while a tourism company or a real estate company and investment may be more attracted to Dubai. It'll differ from emirate to emirate.
HR-specific challenges of the United Arab Emirates.
So human resources are the company's core when it comes to establishing the business from ground up. They're responsible for recruitment, hiring, instituting, and also training individuals who they believe are best fit for the positions. They make sure everything is done in a uniform manner. This being said, they have to do all the business, every transaction the business does, by the books. According to Career Trend, it is also said that human resources hold the responsibility of keeping the workplace safe from terrorism, natural disasters, and health epidemics.
Now let's look at the business side of the HR challenges that may be faced. A visit visa is required for short stays. That means if you are staying 30 continuous days, you must have a visit visa. Their religion and the dress codes are to be respected. This goes back to the etiquettes of the business attire, such as the men's suits and the women's suits, which cover the arms and the legs. In order to live in the UAE, a resident must have a visa. In regards to the business days, this is kind of different from the United States, in which we have the Saturdays and Sundays are our days off, and the UAE, the Friday and Saturdays are their weekends. Fridays are typically a holy day in the Muslim culture, where special prayers are done at the mosque, so they typically use that day as a day off. Special prayers are done at the mosque in the afternoon.
The people as a whole is estimated by the U.S. State Department to be around 9 million people, with only 15 to 20% of these being citizens. The population growth rate is about 4% per year. This tells us that the UAE population is rapidly expanding and absorbing so many foreign nationals. The primary religion in the UAE is Islam, with the population estimated to be about 96% Muslims. Hinduism and Christianity are minorities as stated by the U.S. State Department.
So some of the general HR challenges we see is, as a multinational company, is abiding and following regulations and laws of the country they're doing business in. Aligning the goals that the company has by doing it the correct way, the honest way. This is by following the laws and the rules that the country has set forth in business practices of that country. Another challenge we see is the cultural divide. Cultural divide is kind of like a barrier for HR. It's one of the biggest challenges because of the language differences, the cultural differences. So it's very hard to communicate with the locals and hire out of that country.
Last but not least, let's look at the month of Ramadan and how it affects the HR challenges that may arise when conducting business in the UAE. Ramadan is a holy month that is practiced by the Muslims where they fast from sunrise to sunset. Ramadan is a month in the Islamic calendar which they are obliged to avoid anything obscene and perform duties of giving back and getting closer to God. There are certain things to avoid when you are conducting business during the month of Ramadan, such as no drinking or smoking in public, dressing modestly, and avoiding loud music and dancing, and restaurant establishments are actually closed during the day, since they are fasting from sunrise to sunset. The work hours are also shortened by 2 to 3 hours during the month of Ramadan.